Hey folks, Nile here with PRN Test Drive, and today we're doing something very different. It's been many years since we've done a road trip video, and today we're going to be doing one with this 2023 Jeep Compass Altitude 4x4. We're going to be taking this little compact crossover on a road trip to Michigan, specifically to Detroit. I've actually never been to the birthplace of the American automotive industry in general. I haven't been to Detroit or Michigan, so I'm really excited. So we're going to be taking this compact crossover down there to see what it's all about. You can see the specs about this vehicle here, including the price. It's like $48,000 Canadian all in. States pricing is there as well. And then this also uses a 2-liter engine with 200 horsepower and 211 pound-feet of torque. It's funny, it's the same engine that James was just driving this past week in the Alfa Romeo Giulia. But we're going to be talking a little bit about this, taking it on a road trip. So join us, my family and I, as we adventure through the great unknown of the state of Michigan. Well, we made it. We're in Dearborn, Michigan. The Jeep Compass did a pretty good job. It's not a long drive anyway from where we are in London area of Ontario. It was about a 3-hour drive, including going through the border. Took a little bit. Keep in mind, if you do go through Sarnia, it's a $6 toll to take the Blue Water Bridge, but I want to just show you real quick. We got the car here. Everything's good. It was pretty comfortable. I'd say I was pretty happy overall with the way that the Compass performed for us. Good amount of space. Trunk space is also pretty good too. That's certainly one standout feature that I liked, considering this is on the smaller end of the compact size. You can see there, trunk space is very adequate for a smaller vehicle like this. Got 3 luggages in there with a entire case of water and some other stuff. No problems whatsoever. And then back seat space is pretty good too. My daughter had no problems back there. You can see if it were behind my wife where she was sitting, plenty of space, but even behind me, not a problem at all. So that wraps up our first day of travel here. Now that we're in Dearborn, we're going to continue checking out the sites here in Michigan and seeing what the great state has to offer, as well as the city of Detroit. So follow along, we'll see what else we're going to be doing this weekend. All right, so I'm here day 2 of our trip, and we came here last night, the Ford's Garage in Dearborn. It's actually right behind the Henry Ford Museum. Definitely the place to come, because not only is it really cool, it's officially licensed by Ford as well. And even though we're driving a Jeep, had to be a place that we came and stopped by it. You can see here, awesome front end here. Really looks like an old school Ford garage dealership. They got some vintage cars, little gas station area. The inside is fantastic as well. So if you are in the area, definitely you're going to want to stop here. Not only because you can get some merchandise and stuff that you'll never get anywhere else for this place, but the food was absolutely phenomenal and really affordable too. So we're going to be heading out now to the Henry Ford Museum. So join us as we go check out pretty much all the innovations that happened here in Dearborn and everything that is Ford related, because that is the home of the Ford Motor Company. So let's go take a look.
What did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. This really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come 1 in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. One day I'll be yours. One day I'll be yours. One day I'll be yours. Life lessons come 1 in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life lessons come 1 in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life lessons come 1 in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. Life changes just open the door. One thing's certain, I'll always be yours. One day
All right, so we're wrapping up our second day with the Jeep Compass here in Michigan. There's a couple things that I have come to notice here. If anybody is watching in the state of Michigan here, I have to say that not everybody, but a majority of you on the road are terrible drivers. And second of all, I'm not going to complain ever again about the roads in St. Thomas or London or Ontario in general, because most of the roads here are pretty bad too. So it's been an experience. I'm glad that we're driving the Jeep because the tires on this are a little bit thicker. The sidewalls are a little bit taller than they would be on any of the other vehicles we've got at home. So it bumps and stuff like that are eating up a little bit easier on this than it would be in any of the vehicles that we've got. But I got to say though that it's been a pretty decent week. A couple of things to note that have been nice that we've been able to really appreciate with this vehicle is we don't have to worry about parking it because it's a smaller vehicle, and we do have the 360-degree cameras on this vehicle, which is nice. It's one of the options that we get on the packages that we have here. We don't have the sun and sound group, so that would have added things like the sunroof, which honestly we've appreciated not having because it's been pretty hot here. It's like 35 degrees. I think it says 33 degrees outside right now. And I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's a lot. So it is pretty toasty, but we've been pretty comfortable. I'd say that the seats do start to get to you after a little bit. We spent maybe 5-6 hours in the car when we first drove here yesterday, and then today we've been driving around. We did quite a bit of exploring. Obviously, you saw our little time lapse going through the Henry Ford Museum of Innovation, and we actually spent some time going up to Auburn Hills to see the birthplace of Chrysler and the home of Jeep currently and all that, and then came back here to where we're staying in Dearborn. But we've been driving quite a bit, and I gotta say though, after a while the seats that are firm start to get to you. But the rest of the vehicle's been pretty all right. Performance not too bad overall. For 23, you're getting that more powerful engine here, 200 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque, not the 211 that I had said off the top of my my head when we were doing the intro before. But overall, not too bad. We're sitting currently at we've done 460 kilometers at 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers, which, considering a lot of it is in town now, it's not too bad. So if you're buying this as a fuel-efficient vehicle, maybe not. But if you're buying it because you need something comfortable enough and decently priced, like I see a lot of them. I've been driving around quite a bit, and there are a ton of Compasses and a ton in this same color. It's been nice to see a lot of different vehicles, but a lot of these on the road out here, so they do seem to be pretty popular here in the greater Detroit area. But for the most part, no complaints, nothing major about the vehicle so far. We're going to be continuing on. We're actually going to the Cheesecake Factory right now. We're going to enjoy that for dinner, and then probably do a little bit more exploring tonight around the Detroit area. And then we've got another full day packed of stuff to do, so we're going to be joining, you're going to be joining us in the morning when we start off on day 3 of our adventure. But for now, just a quick update on the vehicle, and that everything's going pretty good. See you in a bit. All right, well, we've wrapped up our second day. It is our third day here, Monday, Labor Day, actually, here in both the United States and Canada. So we're heading off now to the Detroit Zoo. Now, out of the respect for privacy for the animals, I'm not going to be filming anything while we're at the zoo, so you won't be able to see any of what we're doing there, but we're going to be showing you some of the places that we're going to be visiting today in sort of a hyperlapse. So come on, day 3 with us here in currently Dearborn, but in the state of Michigan as we go on our road trip in our 2023 Jeep Compass Altitude. Well, folks, it's the morning of day 4 here on our road trip. It's pretty sunny, as you can see. It's directly in my face, but this is a building I have wanted to see for 15 years now. If you've been following along with the PRN journey since we really started our business about 14 years ago, you'll know that we used to be a podcast network. And one of the shows that we had was a photography show called Full Frame. And one of our regular panelists, Chris Lughart, would come here to the Michigan Central Station pretty frequently as an urban exploration photographer, and he took tons of photos of this building back when it was abandoned. And here we are today in 2023. It's being restored by the Ford Motor Company to be used as I don't know if it's going to be a headquarters or just an amazing office building, but it is in the process of being restored. Everything around here is completely different from what it was in, back in 2009, 2010 when I saw photos of this last, and it is phenomenal. So we're starting off our final day here in Michigan, finally going downtown Detroit, seeing this monument before we head off. So join us as we continue our final day of our journey on our road trip with the 2023 Jeep Compass, as well as taking a look at all the awesome stuff that Detroit has to offer. So come along with us. All right, we're on the way home finally after a pretty busy week in the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. Currently, we're, like 100 and something kilometers from home, but so far we've done 768 kilometers during our road trip, including 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers of fuel efficiency, and then overall I've had the vehicle now for about 950 kilometers with 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers. So it's not bad. It's not great though. And a couple things that at least I've noted in the time that we've been driving it, because we're sitting now at about like 17 and a half hours of driving total. It's like all right. It's decent enough for a road trip, but first off, road noise. And I find that the engine is also pretty loud. Like when you remote start it, it sounds really, really loud. So a little bit of sound insulation would have been a nice thing to have on this vehicle. And then we typically have this problem with any Chrysler vehicle, especially, you know, anytime that we've reviewed any of them in the last like 5-6 years, the HVAC on automatic, it's never really working the way that it should. So I find that it's always blowing a lot harder than it would in any other car. So typically we have to turn the actual either temperature up to like 21.5 to get it to where it should be, or manually adjust the actual fan speed, because if not, it's going pretty hard all the time. But I don't know, I mean, I was comfortable enough, you know, for a small crossover like this. Not too bad overall. Price though is a little bit on the high side, right, at about $48,000. But let's see what my family had to think of the car. What do you guys think of it?
I think the seats are hard a bit after a long time sitting. I think it's the space is okay for our family because we only 3 people, and there's space in the back for our luggage. But I don't think that would be good for a larger family because the space is quite limited still in the trunk.
Yeah, kind of.
Right? I feel it was the perfect car though to go to Detroit because it kind of blended. Like there's a lot of other like Jeep, tons of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Lots of domestic cars in Detroit, so I think it was a good choice. I would say the comfort is okay. Not go further than, you know, like Detroit is 2.5 hours from our house, so I think it was enough for a road trip with the car, and we'll not go further. It's not that comfortable as a passenger.
I think it's very comfortable. It's good for a while, but like at one point, like it won't be as great. But it's still very good. I do recommend driving this car. It was a good trip.
Good. Well, a couple things to note, a couple pluses. The infotainment system is quite good. You know, we've always liked what Chrysler has to offer when it comes to their infotainment, but this generation of Uconnect is quite nice, especially if you do live in the States. For example, Detroit, they've got really nice built-in maps of 3D buildings, which I thought was really cool. It was pretty responsive, even though we did use the wireless Apple CarPlay throughout the entire trip. Wireless phone charger may be a bit of a miss because it's not cooled. My phone overheats and actually doesn't really charge. It actually more or less maintains the same charge level throughout the entire trip that we've had it. So I've had to use the USB cable to keep it plugged in and actually charging rather than just staying at the same level. And then we've got sort of the same digital gauge cluster that we're seeing now on the Wagoneer brand. So nicer interface overall, bigger screen, things like that. The steering wheel's also been updated a little bit. HVAC controls are pretty straightforward. And then, you know, because it's a Jeep, you do have some off-road modes as well. You've got your automatic snow and sand and mud mode, plus a 4-wheel drive lock. We haven't had to use any of that during our trip because it's been nice out. In fact, it's been too nice out. It's like 35 degrees. Like it says, it feels like almost 40 back home right now, so it's going to be fun when we get there. But aside from that, like I said, the vehicle has worked out pretty well. The tech has been fine. It's a good size to be driving in the city. I wouldn't really want a bigger vehicle for our trip. I think it worked out quite well, and really the only thing that I'd be missing from this build would have been a sunroof, because I just feel it's a little dark here for you guys watching at home, watching us right now, just because there is no sun that's coming in. But it wasn't like a big miss for us, so that is an option for people who are looking for that. So I pretty much say, you know, at the end of the day, at $48,000, a bit on the high side. There are some other vehicles in the smaller compact crossover segment that kind of get the job done for less money. So, but overall, it's been a pretty good trip with it. No complaints at all. But thank you for watching this video. If you're a new viewer here on PRN Test Drive, we don't usually do things like this. It's mostly just car reviews, but I hope you've enjoyed this episode of our little road trip going to Michigan and Detroit. So if you did like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like. And then we also have a membership portion now for people who would like to help support this show on a monthly basis. We've got a couple different levels for you to be able to see. And for example, this will be something that you can get access to on our membership only thing. We'll have just the review of the car separate from all the road trip stuff, and a video of just the road trip stuff. So if you just want to see some slower pace, we're going to be doing it at real-time speed, we'll have that for our members only. But thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.
Peace.
Bye.